But this is what I'm talking about. Okay, when I was here in the Dallas Fort Worth area, I was in Dallas a few weeks ago, giving the MLK speech for the city of Dallas. Pastor Haynes, I saw on y'all social media there was a teach-in, an MLK teach-in, and they were laying out their action to register folks, to activate voters, to have Freedom Summer. There was a QR code. It was a whole and all these things were happening. And so what Cody just said, to me, here's what should be happening. Should be the alphas, the deltas, the AKs, the kappas, the sigmas, the iotas, the zetas, the omegas, Prince Hall Mason, all these groups. There should be a calendar, and it should be, here are these town halls that are happening across the state. This is where they're having something this week, and then this week, and then this week. This is what's happening in the whole month of February, then the whole month of March, then the whole month of April. Next month, March 7th, everybody's going to be going to Selma to recreate the walk across the Edmonds Pettus Bridge. I'm not interested in recreating a march. I'm interested in recreating the turnout. And I just think that, like, you take churches. I had a pastor, Pastor McKissick, when I had the NAN conference last year, he said, hey, we're having this session, the Black Church in the Age of Trump. I said, man, the hell with that topic. I said, NAN should be focused on mobilizing and organizing Black preachers in Eastern North Carolina to win that Senate seat. And the same should be happening all across rural Georgia. I just think that we just have way too much. We have great organizations, churches and groups, but they simply are not organized and mobilizing properly. And it's just lots of conversation, but it's not clear, concise work.
Roland, you own it. And since you referenced when you were in Dallas preaching, because I need to emphasize you preached for the MLK celebration, one of the things you said that I hope we heard, as a matter of fact, I've been preaching it ever since, you quoted from the book of Nehemiah. And for me, you used the metaphor of Nehemiah building and battling. In one hand, they had tools to build the wall. In the other hand, they had tools to fight the enemy. And for me, what you're saying and the conversation you just had, we basically need to be planning to build our communities, build political power, build, and at the same time, we need to battle against voter suppression. We need to battle against all of the things that are determined to undermine the effort to vote. Right here in Dallas, Roland, as you well know, for decades, we've been able to vote in Dallas County and throughout the state of Texas, really, from early voting up through election day at any voting site in the county. This year, right, because some people don't want some people to vote, they're only allowing that during early voting, but come election day, you can only vote at your assigned site. And some of the sites that we used to have, we no longer have. And so March 3rd is going to be a hot mess of chaos because of the fact that some people don't want some people to vote. Now, if we do what you're saying, we are outlining every single week, we're going to do this. One of the things we're trying to do, especially with this campaign, is not only get people out to the polls early, but to structure and strategize ourselves so that just in case some folk didn't hear us and go to the polls on March 3rd, we are ready to give them rides where they need to go. We're ready to educate them as to where their site is. But the bottom line is there's a strategy that has been used against us, and we've got to be strategic ourselves. And so Roland, again, preached it. We got to be ready to build and battle.
Yeah, and I just want people to understand you don't have to ask anybody's permission.
No.
Gary Chambers is doing. They're doing these teach-ins in Louisiana. When I spoke in Columbus, Ohio last year, I was laying out to the brother there, and they were trying to do this whole citywide thing, and we were at dinner, and I was like, yeah, he was like, let me explain what we're gonna do. I just felt what they were doing was 30,000 feet. I said, bro, I need you to bring that on the ground, as Joe Madison said, put it where the ghost can get it. I said, we got to simplify this. We got to explain to people. City Hall 101, county government 101, school district 101. And what you just laid out, people have to understand that that in Texas, when you have a governor and when you have they control the Secretary of State, then with the Attorney General, they are then controlling the voting apparatus. And then they are also screwing over blue counties, Harris County, Dallas County, because they are upset that they're actually blue. Well, when we don't vote, then they are still in power. Republicans did that in North Carolina. And so it's getting our folks. In fact, I sent a text the other day to the folks in North Carolina. I said, hey, y'all are 14 seats down in the House. Republicans control it. Okay, what seats are y'all targeting this election? You can't pick up all 14. Oh, you're targeting 5 or 6. What are the 5 and 6? And then what are you focused on in the next election? We had yesterday, there's 2 sisters on talking about protect our health care. And they were like, oh, we need this bill that Lauren Underwood, it passed in the House. I said, hey, you need 60 votes, right? They said, yeah, we got 47 in Democrats, right? I said, y'all need to identify the 13 so we know who to target. See, I'm tired of us just having this macro sort of strategy. What I am saying is it has to be a micro, a targeted strategy. We need to pick off that person, that person, that person. We need to take this person out of office, this person out of office, this person out of office, and target our resources and time and energy to doing that, as opposed to this general, hey, get out to vote, we hope you show up.
Right, no question. And a matter of fact, I had a conversation earlier today with Jennifer Jones Austin, and so we were discussing something in an upcoming conference they want us to do. And basically, they want us to do what you're saying we don't need to do any more of, and that is to have a conversation about what's going on as opposed to a mobilization for what we need to do going forward. And one of the things that we as a people have to get delivered from, and that is these panel discussions where all we do is talk about theories, but we never get around to mobilizing the practice. As you know, right now, we're in the midst of what was going on 70 years ago in Montgomery, Alabama. They didn't have no studies and panels about how to put on a bus boycott, or they were not having studies and panels to discuss how bad the bus system was in Montgomery. No, they decided, I'm sick and tired of this. As a matter of fact, Claudette Colvin said she got radicalized when her boy got railroaded for a crime he did not commit. And Claudette Colvin decided to sit down on the bus because they made up their minds to organize and mobilize. And so Black churches organized and mobilized. Miss Robinson organized and mobilized. This is our time for theoretically discussing what's going on, how bad things are. That has to be done with. We now have to start thinking strategically and thinking about mobilization, because everything that is being done to us is a result of strategic thinking. It's a result of them playing chess. And we ain't even on the board, let alone trying to play checkers. So in a real sense, it's very important that we begin to do, as you said, and that is target certain seats. And as we target those seats, and I'm not just talking about federal level, I'm talking about at the state level, I'm talking about at the county and the city level, we have to begin to target seats and then groom and grow leadership that is going to be accountable to the community because they've been connected with the community. We should already be thinking about, in Texas, 2027 and the legislative session that they are going to have in Austin, 2028. We got to be thinking about 2030. When the Tea Party lost in 2008, while we were partying, they were planning, and that's how they took over redistricting in 2010. It's all about strategically thinking ahead and planning as a result.
When you talk, so you are seeking congressional seat. The primary is March 3rd, and if there is a preacher listening, here's the first thing: if you are a preacher in Dallas, Grand Prairie, Fort Worth, because they changed the map, and what used to be the 30th congressional district, it now extends across those 3 areas. Correct?
Yeah, for real. I mean, Cedar Hill, Glen Heights. I mean,
Right.
Mansfield, it's just crazy. And they took away the economic engines downtown, Love Field, the hospital district, all of that is gone now. And so we have to basically recognize that south of
Right.
30 is where District 30 is.
So if you're a church, if you're a preacher, a church leader, this is the first thing you got to do. Where is your church located? Which congressional district? Then what you should be saying is the precinct that where you're located. And let me help as many preachers as possible who forget. Surveying the people is biblical.
Thank you.
Let me say it again. Surveying the people is biblical. If you think I'm lying, just go look up Gideon. And so the point here is what the church should be saying is, okay, where are we located? What precinct are we in? And that church can go to the Board of Elections and pull the data and say, oh, these are the number of registered voters in this precinct. This how many people voted in the last election. So what I'm trying to say to a church, I don't need you going across the city. If multiple churches can be focused on going door to door and you don't need permission in your precinct, imagine what happens if that is replicated across 100 precincts. Yeah. Then all of a sudden, so they don't have to call your campaign. They don't have to call Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett's campaign. The church could do it themselves and say, hey, we want to make sure if the voter registration deadline for the primary is passed, should be telling them early voting is starting. And then towards the election, use that exact same model to say our church will have X number of cars and vans available. So if you need a ride, call this number or text this number. We'll take you to the polls. Again, you don't even have to call the campaign. You can organize it yourself.
You can organize it yourself. And then, Ro, I want to add this to it, and that is because they're trying to be so slick in the state, we have to stay on top of up until the very last minute where the precincts are, where the voting locations are. That's what we're doing here. And then making sure, if we do it right, that we line up, look at our voter, not our voter roll, but our membership roster, and then line it up with their addresses and their voting precincts and their voting locations, and then make sure that they can use the church as that one-stop resource. This is where I need to go if I wait until March 3rd, but this is where I can go within the confines of the county where I live if I go ahead and vote early. And again, every one of my colleagues, I hope we're pushing every voter to vote early.
Absolutely. We were going to talk about something else, but I ain't care about them white evangelicals. We talking about how do we mobilize and organize our people. Come on. And that's really what this is about. And again, folks, the Texas primary is March 3rd. North Carolina is also March 3rd. So wherever you are listening, I need you to look at your state, and you need to find out when the primary is in your state. Carol in the control room, tomorrow, I need y'all to pull a list and we need to lay out the primaries that are in March. We need the dates, the primaries that are in April, in May, so we can let folks know that because again, I'm sick and tired of Black people undervoting and not maximizing our capacity. Final comment, Reverend Haynes.
Well, again, Roland, I'm just going back to what you said. It's been my mantra since I heard you speak in Dallas, and that is we got to build power and we got to battle against all that we're up against. And I ain't got to go there with this audience, but we got to build and we got to battle. And that requires being strategic in our thinking and thinking beyond. Again, we got to go after this election, no question about it, because it's upon us right now. But Roland, right after this election, we got to start thinking about 27, 28, 29, 30, and beyond. It's all about the chess game now.
Absolutely. The day after November election, 26, I'm already focused on 27.
Come on, man.
That's just and that's just how it is. Reverend Haynes, I appreciate it, Fred. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Fred. Keep it up.
Thank you. Thanks a bunch. Hey, folks.